Today I want to show you the new payroll system along with the staff account system, which very heavily integrate with each other. Have a look. After you've logged in, you will see the standard start page. As I'm reworking the menu a little bit to clean it up a little and not have so many links up here that might confuse people, I've put the stuff under staff stuff. Right now it's called staff list, but that'll change in the future. Here you'll find two new links. One is called payroll and one is called account transactions. And I'll run you through these functions and explain to you how they integrate with each other. So first, if we start payroll system, you'll get a list of all staff. And if that list becomes too long, you can actually put a filter up here. Click on search, you'll just get those employees matching that filter. So if we'll just go back, first thing I want to show you, let's take Danae. You can see that she will not be paid anything right now, and that's because all the amounts are set to 0 at the moment. Why is that? The reason is that we haven't configured Danae's profile yet. This gray box that you'll see here will only show as long as those values are not set. So once you set those values, this gray box will disappear. Furthermore, this gray box will only show to people who have the permission accountant to prevent the employee to change these information himself. Now you'd have a tax file number. That's the number that the tax office or the government gives each employee to identify them when they pay taxes. Let's just take a random number here. And the same for the Social Security number. Retirement office, you need those numbers in order to identify the employee correctly for the respective offices. You would put a currency in here. I would strongly advise that you keep the default currency of your country that you have configured in your setup process. So usually I'd encourage you to just leave it as is. The next field is the gross salary. This is what you pay before any deductions. So let's say Danae receives 5,000 CFA per pay cycle, and you can set an extra bonus. Let's say Danae is a very good worker and you want to pay her, let's say, 500 CFA extra. And you can put some comments in there. You can say, good worker, or whatever. Let's say Danae is living on the compound and she pays 100 CFA. Now in Tchad, we have other fees, which is 40 CFA per month. I couldn't really figure out what this was for. It's just deducted from every employee's paycheck by default by the government. And this thing is called FIR in Tchad. There might be something similar in your country, then you can put that in here. If not, just leave it empty. Many institutions deduct the tithing automatically if the employee wishes to do so, and then you can put a yes or a no in there. And then you just hit Save Personal Data, and you can see that you are in this Personal Data Settings page, and down here you can see that this was all successfully saved. Now let's just go back to our payroll again. Now you can see that the gray box is gone, and you can see that all the amounts have been pre-filled with your configuration that we've just done. So we've got the gross salary of 5,000 CFA, the bonus for a good worker. You see that bonus for a good worker, that's what we put in the comments there. 500 CFA, we've got a 1% bonus per year after the employee works more than 3 years for the hospital. That's what we have in Bere. Then we've got a 10.5% tax. This is again configurable during the setup. So this is being automatically deducted from the gross salary, including the bonus, obviously. And the same for the retirement fund for the employee. Now notice that this is only 3.5%. Down here we've got the total price that we pay to the retirement fund is 3.5% for the employee, which has been deducted up here. And then another 16.5% which the hospital pays. Okay. Now these amounts are automatically calculated and later on being put on the respective accounts. We've got the FYR that we said before, and then this all together totals up to the net salary. From this net salary, we would be deducting the tithing and the rent for the housing. And that gives you the total payout. Down here you can see this calculation of the 16.5% plus 3.5% equals up to 20%, meaning 1,140 CFA, which is being put on the retirement account. Now, as you can see, we've got the staff account summary here, and as we've just started with Danae's account, there's no transaction whatsoever on her account. This will change in just a second once we hit the pay salary button. Let's just go ahead and do that. And then you see that a lot of automatic transactions have been done for you, so you don't have to worry about them. And now let's just have a look at the actual items. You see the transaction time, that's Sunday, the person who's doing the transaction, and then you've got the cost center. This is going to be important later on when we look at the account transactions. So you have the transaction deducting from the payroll account to the account owner, in this case Danae. And you do this on behalf of Danae Nettiberg, and the amount of 4,900 and whatever, and this is the salary. Look at the next one. From the payroll account to the tax account. You've got some special accounts in the software right now, in this case tax, and here you can see that this on behalf of is very important because later on the tax office will then know which employee has paid what amount of taxes. And here's the tax file number. The same works with the retirement fund. Okay, so the account owner in this case is a retirement fund. You've got the 1,140 there, and the tithing and the rent for the housing. Now this is just for accounting purposes right now in the computer. Okay, I'll show you in just a bit what you can do in order to actually go and pay those taxes to the tax office or whatever. Once this is done, you can print this out and give this to the employee for him or her to have a receipt. That's all that we need to do for payroll once a month. Please notice that the pay salary button is still there. So if we hit that again, we would be basically putting all these amounts on Danae's account and all the other accounts as well. As you can see in the transactions, there's all the other transactions have been done again. If you want to avoid that, we could just hide the pay salary button for X number of days between your pay cycles, or just show that button on certain days of the month or whatever. This is something that should be reasonably easy to implement, and I'd like your comments on that, on how you would like that functionality. Right now, you just have to make sure that you don't pay the person various times by hitting that button various times. And that's pretty much it for the payroll system. Now let's go to account transactions module. You'll see again the list of accounts for your hospital. Essentially this is all the employees, so you've got the employee list here again, and you've got those 3 extra accounts here. But let's first look at Danae's account. You can see that it's only the salary that we have paid her, okay? In this case, we've paid it twice, so this is why she's got $9,951.60 on her account right now. So this is what you as a hospital or as an employer owe that employee. If this employee now wants to be paid, i.e. actually get the money, you could write a check or get the cash or whatever. How you do that doesn't matter to the software. As in Bere, most things are being done via cash. I'm just assuming you're doing cash. So let's just do that right now and say we want to prepare a payout. Payout. Whoops. Payout. Here we are. And let's say she just wants, I don't know, 5,000. Okay? CFA, because she doesn't need more or whatever. It depends on you. You could also just click on here and just say I want to have everything paid out to me right now, and then it just fills that field for you. click on Prepare Transaction again, and it shows you again the correct amount, hopefully, and you'd see the account balance after you do that transaction. Okay? Just be aware, right now we haven't clicked on Do Transaction, so right now it's just a preparing. Nothing has been saved to the database as yet. And usually I'm assuming that the employee is actually sitting in front of you and you do this process with the employee as an accountant together. Okay? Now you just click on Do Transaction. And this now does two things. Number one, it saves this transaction to the database and it gives you that printout thing. Okay? Now I'm going to show you that printout in a preview because that just makes it easier. So you would print this out and you would have the accountant sign, yes, I've given you the money, and you would have the recipient of the money, in this case Danae, sign, yes, I've received the money, and then the accountant in this case would keep this receipt and put it to the books, and by that have a second backup receipt to say, yep, I've actually paid that employee, so the employee doesn't show up and say you haven't paid me at all or whatever. Okay, so this is done. So you just print that. I'm just gonna cancel this right now, and you can see that in our accounting we've got in the comments the payout, and you can see that the amount that she's having on her account is 0 CFA. That's pretty much it for the payroll and accounting. Now I want to show you what you can do in order to go and pay the tithe office. So we basically click on Other Account, and let's go to the tax office and just click on Tax Office, and then you see all the accounts that all the transactions that have been done on behalf or for that taxing account. And you can see that right now you're owing the tax office $2,749.95 CFA. And if you would want to go and say, okay, now an accountant goes to the capital or whatever to the tax office and pays that money, he basically would go and prepare that transaction. First, you want to say how much you want to actually do. So let's just go ahead and pay everything, and we do this in cash, right, or check or whatever. And then we prepare that transaction. Balance tax office. So here we are. So we've prepared that transaction. We're happy with it, and you can see that there is signature recipient name. We don't have one here because we don't know who it is, right? So he would print this out. He would go to the tax office. He would pay the stuff and have that person sign this receipt, okay, or get a receipt from them or whatever they do there, and just nail it or pin it to this sheet of paper or whatever you do with it. Just make sure that you get a signature that you've actually paid the money to the correct person. Okay, this is very important. Money has been lost by people not doing exactly this step here. So you do the transaction, same thing as we've just done before. We print it and off we go. And then you can see that we do not owe anything to the tax office. The same workflow would work with the retirement office, the tithing office, and whatever else. So I guess that's it. Give me your comments right down below, or write me an email. Yeah, let me know. And I hope you love it. And again, let me know what you think. Let me know your needs. I'm more than happy to try to accommodate that as far as I can. If you have someone who is good at programming, don't hesitate to come contact me, get involved. I hope you love it. Thanks for watching.